Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. I'm here today with the beautiful Allexion. Yes, from Jamaica.
All right.
She's here in New York City right now doing her thing. So I appreciate you for coming to the show.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you. I met you. Creating beautiful music in the subsection, and a lot of musicians here in New York, I tend to catch them, in elements like that.
Nice.
That's real dope how I caught you, because your voice, I automatically thought Lauryn Hill, automatically thought,
nice.
Just magnificent, just beautiful.
I appreciate that.
So, on the show, I like to get started with your foundation, your blueprint. And
okay.
That's important because, young ladies could be watching this and they could be going through the same roads that you're traveling right now. I want to know how you got through.
Okay.
So let's start with foundation.
All right. So I grew up in Jamaica, as you said. I came here in 2002. I'm from a two-family household. My mom, my dad. They're both like musicians. So I grew up in church.
Right.
So I have a foundation at church, and a lot of my upbringing was around like devotion and singing. My parents would always sing together. I'm from a family of musicians, so my cousin is a lot of my cousins are musicians as well. But in terms of family, I'm blessed to say that I'm from a loving family where my parents really are friends and they really care about each other, and that care has carried through to their kids. I'm one of four. I have three brothers. I'm the only girl. I have two older brothers, one younger brother, and I've really experienced a lot of love in my life, which I appreciate that. And and it stems from having two loving parents that are very supportive of each other as well as supportive of their kids. So that's really my foundation there.
Growing up in a household, what is some words or wisdom or some sayings that your parents always tell you that you live by today?
One thing I remember my mom saying growing up is many hands make light work. And I think for me right now as a musician, that's something that keeps coming back to me in terms of collaborating. And a lot of times as a musician, it's like there's so many parts to becoming a successful musician. You have marketing, you have publicists, all these different things. So right now I'm trying to figure out, aside from the music itself, the other parts, what other hands can I get involved, so that the work can be lighter, the work can be done more effectively, to really build a team around myself, stuff like that.
It's nice. So growing up, as you're being raised, you're from Jamaica, but you come to the jungle.
Oh yeah, the concrete jungle.
So, growing up here in New York City, what is the vibes like, as in the structure, the music industry, and what's some people that you met that kind of impacted you?
I mean, when I got back to the city, when I went away to college. I went away to Binghamton for a bit, which is upstate New York. Then I got back, and I actually started busking in 2009. And when I started busking, I kind of met a lot of other street musicians. I started going. I attended City College because I wanted to study music and continue my studies there. And there I did a lot of vocal training. I actually studied classical voice, and that yeah. So I studied classical voice, and my coach. I had two coaches. One coach, I really enjoyed his instruction, and he really saved my voice basically, because I was singing on the trains and then going singing like classical music. So I'd be singing like pop and all this other stuff for hours, and I ended up getting like vocal nodules and had to do like vocal therapy. It was a time of a lot of fear, but it was also a time of a lot of learning about the voice, learning how to take care of my voice, learning how to breathe properly. And that really opened my eyes to just like vocal technique. And that's why now, I can sing on the train for hours and hours. So it's cool, because honestly, that's what carries me now.
Okay.
Like to sit down and sing for 10 hours in a way that, I'm playing the guitar and like really trading between my voice and guitar and not over singing. and stuff like that. So it's a really beautiful thing that I got the chance to study the voice and my instruments.
So someone like me, right?
Yeah.
Say I'm off the street, I come here, what I'm saying, I'm trying to learn how to sing.
Yeah.
So what's some tips that you give to somebody who wants to
Yeah.
learn how to sing, who don't have a voice at all?
Well, one thing I always tell people is that you have to start from your speaking voice. Like I also did teaching for a while, like taught music. And I remember when I just started teaching, I lost my voice for like a month. And that's when I realized, I'm like, okay, so I'm not losing my voice when I'm singing, I'm losing my voice when I'm speaking. So I realized I wasn't like supporting my voice well. So I tell a lot of singers or people who want to sing that you have to think of your voice as an extension of when you're projecting to speak, and you have to really use your vowels when you sing and really use proper diction. A lot of that transfers over into singing. So the first thing is having a very clear speaking voice allows you, from my experience, to have a very clear singing voice, and you think about singing in more of a speaking way, but more so in pitches, and working on your breathing and stuff like that. So, I've had a few students that I've worked with, and they've improved a lot, and it's really cool to see all these techniques work that I've been spending a lot of money on when I was studying voice. I wrote this song while I was busking in the subways. That's what I do. If I'm not here, I'm in the streets. That's my stage. Leave a little love for me. Don't leave me empty. Don't leave me. Leave a little love for me. Sorry, don't leave me. Oh, I need you tonight. I need you tonight. I've tried and I've tried to let you go.
Someone like me, I can really.
No, for sure.
I can learn how to sing.
Definitely. I think you have a good speaking voice. Should be able to.
So, all right. So, what was that day that you woke up and realized, what? I love music. I want to do this for the rest of my life. What was that moment for you?
Well, I had a few of those moments, and what I will say is when I was a little kid, when I was like 3, I remember my brothers they were learning how to play piano, and I was really young, and I remember going by the piano and wanting to learn, and my teacher at that time told me I had to know my ABCs to learn. So I was super young, and at that point I said I want to be a pianist when I grow up, and that kind of, as time progressed, kind of dwindled a little bit, and I went into other things. I was doing debate. I wanted to be a chemist. Like different things kind of fell in the way. But then when I went to college, I remember a good friend of mine came by to my when I lived off campus, and I was doing economics, right? I was kind of like searching. I did some music theory, but I didn't do too well because I've always learned to play by ear and understand music a lot by ear. And then, he came to my room and he's like, yo, you have a guitar, you have a keyboard, I have Jimi Hendrix on the wall, I have Bob Marley. And he's like, I don't think you are economics. Like, you're surrounded by music. Right. And that was one of the first times that I really thought about it. Like, maybe I should, because it was always something that sat on me. Like, I love music, I love to play. At the time, I wasn't singing as much, but I did love to sing. And at that point, I was like, yeah, maybe when I get back to the city, I'll definitely do music. So for me, when I got back to the city, I started studying music. And, as I said, I started busking in the trains with my cousin initially. And that's when I started kind of building, fostering that, performing in public. But then when I studied music, I also studied education. So that's how I started teaching music. So it was 2019 when everything kind of came to a head, when I really was doing it, but wasn't doing it fully, like full time, all of my heart. And then right before the pandemic, which is
Right.
crazy,
Yeah.
I kind of had a breakdown because I was teaching and I was very unhappy, and it was just like between the behavioral issues, you know, and just not being happy with where I am, knowing that I love music, dealing with the frustration of teaching. I decided, all right, I'm just gonna do my music. However it's gonna work out, however it's gonna manifest. I'd rather go in the subway and make my money and can sleep at night knowing that I'm not being fatigued, right? So when it was the last day of teaching was January 1st, 2020, on the books, but it was during December for Christmas, and then Corona happened, and that whole year was just like, whoa, I'm not making any money. I can't go and busk because the whole world is shut down. So it was a tough time a bit, but I was with my family. As I said, I have a very loving family, very supportive family. So, I didn't lack anything, and I had my savings too. But I realized that even up to this day, I started working because I do music production. So I started producing a lot of music, putting out my songs, and I'm really seeing momentum build. And I think, as I said to you, many hands make light work. I definitely realized like I need to really surround myself with more capable people, and really explore and collaborate more, which includes yourself.
You know what I'm saying?
You know.
Around the riches here. Behind,
Yes,
behind the camera.
absolutely, definitely. I mean, it takes a community.
It
I
does.
feel
It does.
so. I'm looking forward to more collaborations, more growth in that way.
Yes.
Definitely.
And like, I see a lot of people here, they do the music like, combust, robust.
Correct.
And so what's that mentality like if you actually stepping out in the public, performing,
Yeah.
not knowing what people gonna think? What is that like?
So it's funny because I think I believe like I've developed such a comfort singing in public that I feel it's almost scarier to sing like individually. It's weird because I remember somebody saying, I actually have a show on September 1st.
Oh,
Yeah, I have a show at the Meadows September 1st in Williamsburg. But initially when I got the opportunity, I kind of felt scared. And I'm like, wait a minute, I sing public all the time. Like, why am I afraid to sing at a venue? But then I realized it's like, that's where pushing yourself is important. And when I started singing on the train, I got that same feeling, that same kind of, am I about to do this? Like, that nervousness. And I realized, like, you really just got to do it. Like, there's no way around fear but to go through it. It's like you're always gonna, it's literally like a part of your biology to be fearful as a protection mechanism. So I feel like for me, I've realized like I just got to do it. Like if it's going live on Instagram, sometimes I'll be like, I don't really know what I want to say to all these people. Like these people are just following me. They don't want to know what my day was like. Like whatever it is, it's just like, just do it. Like you don't have anything to lose. You may even put a smile on somebody's face. Even being at Bedford or wherever else I'm busking, I realize like sometimes people will come up to me and be like, yo, you just made my day. Like every time I see you in the morning, before I go to work, you lift my spirit. And that's such like, it's like, please keep doing this, and that makes me feel good. I know that I'm contributing to society in a positive way, and I think that's what keeps me going, aside from obviously needing to make money like everybody else.
Right.
It's the purpose of lifting people's spirit. I feel that's a big plus,
Yeah.
Definitely.
Nice. So, words of wisdom
Yeah.
that you can give to somebody that you use every day. What's some words of wisdom that you use every day can people find your music? How they can collab, and how
Correct.
can reach out to you if they need like a big sister to talk to?
Okay, so words of wisdom. Just I believe like it's funny. It's all those little things that you repeated to yourself. Like somebody would tell you as a kid, like believe in yourself and you gotta try and stuff like that. Like they may seem simple, but honestly, those are the words of wisdom like that I live by now. Like be good to yourself. Like give yourself grace. It's a big one because I realize like you can burn out if you feel like it's gonna happen in a day, or you're like, okay, I want to make it next month, and you're like it's a journey. And I think sometimes like naturally I can be very impatient, and I realize like you always have to remember your why. Like, why am I doing this? You always have to give yourself grace. You always have to be patient with yourself and patient with the process. And within the process, it's like learning a language. They're gonna be boring moments, but you have to do those little steps. So I feel the word of wisdom is be patient and be kind to yourself. That's a big thing that I'm working on myself, because it's not easy. Some days you're like,
Right. That's true.
So
You wake up and know I'll start later today.
yeah, and sometimes you just like today I took a walk to the park and I just kind of chilled, and that was such a blessing just to sit and watch somebody play soccer, because you have to live during the process of, like, a nurse goes to work at a hospital. As a musician, your job is to create music, is to perform. It's still a career. It's a job. So in between that is living life. And a lot of times as artists, you don't really think about that. Like, you look at like people who are doctors or nurses or teachers, they will look at a musician as like, you're just making music all day. But you still need those moments to stop and to reflect and to be normal and to relax. And I do give myself that grace that whenever I'm taking a break, to take a break
Right.
and not like take a break and still go work on music, because I do love it,
Right.
but it's still work. So, and the next thing, you can find my music. I have music on Spotify. I have music on all platforms actually. If you look on the Allexion X, my music is on all platforms. And I really have a plan, which I'm gonna really try to stick to. I want to release like a song a week at a certain point.
Nice.
So, I've been like, one thing about my music, which as people explore, they'll discover, is I'm kind of a fluid genre kind of artist. And sometimes that can be frustrating for listeners. I get it. Because I've made a dancehall song, I've made a pop song, I've made a rockish song, hip hopish song, and as you know, I'm a singer-songwriter as well. So sometimes it can be like, yo, what is her real sound? And I think I do give myself grace of exploration. But at the same time, I do want to connect and really pull everything in together. And that's why I consider myself a pop artist, because I'm really just pulling from inspiration and from sounds that mean something to me. So yeah, you can find my sound and my music on all platforms. And yeah, I can't remember the next question. You had like 3 questions.
No, that was good.
That was good.
That's
All
everything.
right, that's everything. Sounds good.
They can reach out to you.
Yeah,
from
so
IG.
yeah, you can reach out. You can DM me. My email is on Instagram. My Instagram is axx.music. So you can reach out to me anytime for any artist that's looking for advice, that just want to collaborate. Right now I'm very open to collaboration, because I've not been necessarily, because I've done a lot of production myself, but I am looking to work with producers, work with other artists. I write, I play guitar, I play piano, I sing, I do some rapping too. Yeah, man. And I have the whole Jamaican vibe. I can do a little bit of dancehall vibe too. So yeah, as an artist, I just love to make art. I love to explore music in a very vast way. So yeah, I'm down to collaborate, definitely.
Nice. So I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Next, we're about to hear some little vocals.
I Next time, I got you. I got you. I got you.
Next
Today
time,
I'm
ladies and
chilling.
gentlemen, you'll see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next time I'll have something prepared.
Yes.
You know, I like to be prepared. So
We can do an unofficial video.
yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
Two.